Alrighty. Hey guys, AnimeWestReacts here. This is gonna reaction to Serph of the End, chapter 140, titled The World I Want. And so yeah, we start the chapter off, Rigord talking to Rigord, saying, Rigord, what is this about? He's like, what do you mean? And he says, why are you allowing this? And then Rigord says, what else could I do? We don't have the full picture yet, and it isn't as if he is attempting to escape, as he was just sitting at a table stuffing his face. Erd then says, I suppose that's true. And then Erd says, Did you ever eat like that when you were a human? And then Sigurd says, I don't remember, honestly. It was too long ago. And he says, Rigger, and he says, do you think that vision, or Erd says, do you think that vision you saw in the first mind was true? And then he says, from the time of angels, yes. And so yeah, the image of Rigger and Erd together. Erd then says, you believe the first did not abandon us. Instead, he acted to save us, truly. And he doesn't say anything. He says, Rigger. Erd says, Rigger, after all this time, the one you want to revenge on is, and he says, Sigurd says, Rigger, Sigurd, whichever. Says, I don't mind. I never truly wanted revenge after all. I simply wanted to reach him. He says, Erd says, and now that you have, he says, who can say? Father never told us much of anything. And then Erd says, just as you don't tell us anything, you two are much alike. And then Sigurd says, I won't deny it. And he says, right you? And then you's like, And he says, won't you give yourself a stomach ache eating that much? He hits himself on the chest, says, what, this? I needed a whole buttload of calories to support me. I mean, my demon, while he attempts to analyze the info we ingested from the first. And then he's like, what? Yeah, he's like, because like, what? Hang on, you're actually saying that. And then, yeah. Sigurd says, now this, or Rigger, keep calling him Sigurd, I don't know. Rigger says, now this is odd. You told us before that it was another human, one who's your enemy and who has devoured the first. And then he says, yep, that's true. They got about 70% of him. But the other 30% he entrusted to me. And then you puts his hand and it says, a spell to revive Michaela, a spell to hide the world from paradise, and a spell to destroy paradise. And then yeah, Rigger's like, what is that? And then you says, it's magic that the first gave me for saving the world, I think. And Rigger's like, to save the world, huh? And he says, you saw the first memories, right? The information we got from him told us you did. And then they both look at each other and say, really? And he says, I figured the two of us were probably after the same thing. That's why I disclosed just a weensy bit of what we know. And what do you want? I told you before. We're going to take all the humans and the vampires and even the first and save all the worlds. And he says, what? Yeah, he's like, huh? He says, oh yeah, that. We're going to save all the worlds. That sounds cool. And he says, does that include reviving the angels? And he says, yeah. But when the first attempted that very thing, he was punished by God. And then so you says, yeah, but we've got the spell to hide the world from we've got the spell to hide the world from paradise, and the spell to destroy paradise right here. And then Rigger says, and what's that one? So it's supposed to be a spell to revive Michaela. Or Michaela, however you say it. And it says, according to the first memories, Michaela was something with immense amount of light. Yeah, I gotta. Sorry. Infused with an immense amount of light, with that power, all the angels could be revived. And then, yeah, he says, but despite millennia of attempts, the first never successfully brought Mikaela back. He tried and tried, but every attempt ended in failure. And then you says, he won't fail. We won't fail. We figured out what the first did wrong. And then Rigger's like, and that was? And he's like, that I can't tell you until you promise to work with us. Yeah. And he says, Mika's thinking, verbal promises with them are just so much hot air. And he's thinking, just let me. He says, Saito, you've been chasing after First for ages. In order to resist the Japanese demon army that he first created, you founded the Hyakuya sect. You even built... Sorry, my words are blurring. You even built the Hyakuya orphanage. And he says, that means you're smart. You've got access to all the human spells, all the vampire knowledge, and smarts to rival if not outdo Gurren and Mahiru. So help me research these spells. Wait, no. He says, wait, no. You take over the first dream and save all the worlds. And then, yeah. Erd's like, I'm against this. It's a much safer, easier option right now in front of us. Returning to paradise, reviving the angels despite it breaking the taboo, the first failure already showed us what happens when trying those. And then Erd says, in which case, and then, yeah, Sigurd says, wait. And yeah, Erd just lunges at you and he shoots him a chain at him and stops the sword and he says, let me go, Rigger. And he says, no. And then Erd says, why repeat past mistakes? And we go into, we see a bunch of crosses and places burning. I guess the first, yeah, burning. Yeah. Ooh, so yeah, we see that scene, but more to it when the first was burning. We see, yeah. We're come to him and say, hear you, Father, now I will. And then, yeah, he says, Erd, while Father's actions may have been a mistake, we still haven't made a single one. Simply wasting the days until eternity ends without a single hope would make us nothing more than vampires. And Erd says, I don't want what happened to the first to happen to you. You're one step away from the point of no return. And Rigger says, isn't that what it means to live? Or have you been around 50 long years you've forgotten? Or have you been around so long you've forgotten? And the Earth says, I will not accept that logic. And it says, you abandoned us, dumping the duty of maintaining the world's balance on us, and so we did, the whole time you were gone. And he says, well, that mission is over. Good job. I've returned to you. He slashes, or like puts the blade to his neck and says, so Rigger says, if you aren't going to cut off my head, then join me and help me save all the worlds. And he says, you're always too selfish. Erd says that, and then Rigger says, and you're always too nice. And he says, well, has this gone how you hoped? Or are you really the first and we're dancing to your tune? And then he says, yeah, it is. You guys are the best. Whew. And then he says, and your whole save the world thing, that sounds way better, way cooler than Gurren's save all humanity thing. I like it. He's like, oh, Saito Erd, let's do it. We're going to save all the worlds. And they're like, huh? Or Rigger's like, hmm. So then we go over to Kai Luck. He's out and about, I guess, and thinking. He says, I'm not so interested in all that complicated stuff. Not like there's any meaning to life in the first place. And he's like, hey, what do you think? And little vampire's like, And he's like, or maybe it's not a vampire. So answer me in the next 3 seconds or I'll drink you dry. So yeah, it's human. And he's like, what was your question, sir? He says, what's the meaning of your life? And this little girl, I guess, that's what he screwed, says, I've never really thought about it. Yeah, and then he says, there, that's the right answer. It's all just kicks and giggles. There's no innate meaning to this world. At least I haven't found any so far. And then he just like exhales and then he turns around and walks back inside. And he's like, oh, all the humans have run away, so I guess it wasn't maybe not a human? Blah, I don't know. And he's like, everyone's trying so hard to live, but these guys are left alive. Won't they get in Lord Erd's way? Guess I'll make it a point of living through today by killing them. Time to hunt some rabbits. And so, yeah, we got confrontation with Kureto and his gang. Or Shinya, Kureto, Ganji or Genji. And then, yeah, Kyluk comes out and, yeah, Shinya yells, Kureto, they know. And he says, caught up already. And then, yeah, Kureto yells, damn, everyone stop, prepare for battle. And then Kyluk says, even if you stop, I'll kill you all. Try to put enough of a fight that I can at least kill a bit of time. And he says, sword. And yeah, Barrett arrives. Because, yeah, Kyluk feels something behind him and is like, what? And then Farrad's there and he's like, oh, you noticed. He yells. Kyluk ends the chapter yelling, Farrad Bathory. And so, yeah. Well, so yeah, we know what's happening next chapter, I guess. Most likely. Sorry, blurry camera. So, yeah, Kai's probably getting absorbed next chapter, given that Farrad's already defeated Cruel, and Kai is number 5, and Cruel's rank 3, so, yeah. But overall, pretty good episode. Hope y'all, or chapter. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you do, then like it, share it, sub the channel. I'll see y'all later.